Good evening, everyone. Coming to you live from Hampton Roads, Virginia. It's another episode of Homeboy Talk. I'm Deon Donovan from Title-Page Comics, here with my co-host
𝐿𝐿𝐼𝑜𝑁 online. That's Orrion online. Follow me on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. And we're here for another round of Homeboy Talk. Let's make some moves.
Let's get the show on the road. So, for this week, we had the official launch of the next Xbox and PS5. Everyone was getting their consoles delivered or picking them up in the stores, and throughout all social media you can definitely feel its presence of people posting the boxing and the controllers and the gaming and all of this. I mean, I was seeing tons of advertisements for Miles Morales Spider-Man and people playing the new Xbox. So it was been a pretty crazy week in terms of gaming consoles and gaming news. And I hear you have certain thoughts about how everyone is reacting and approaching this launch, man. What are your feelings about this launch in terms of how people are behaving?
We live in an age where the internet is all about fuck your feelings. But you know what? I'm gonna put all feelings involved. You can fuck my feelings or not. I don't give a fuck. But let me speak my piece on this situation. Personally, man, before the launch of these consoles, I was full on excited because the PlayStation 5 and the Xbox Series X and S, they were actually a huge leap in the gaming industry because of the fidelity and the capabilities. Because now we're jumping out of 60 frames into 120 frames per second. We're doing 4K gaming. And now we got ray tracing in the mix, which is really kicking up the leap of graphics, because there's a lot of things that developers have done with games that that it sometimes can convince you that it's photorealism, and there's sometimes it just takes you out of the photorealism and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, gaming is all about telling the story. However, with all that excitement, I know PC gamers got a chance to enjoy all that with HDR and ray tracing, all that stuff like that, way before consoles and stuff like that. But this is a chance for console gamers to really go out and enjoy in our televisions, not in front of a monitor and a keyboard and a mouse. It's all about entertainment. So yeah, I was excited for this huge leap in the console generations, because yeah, because little history and stuff like that. There was jaw-dropping fidelity when you came out of the PS2 into the PS3. Really wasn't that much going on when the PS3 went into the PS4, but now we're looking at a PS4 with a giant leap into photorealism and better storytelling, and now bigger worlds to explore. Going into the PlayStation 5 and Xbox, it's great and all, but yeah, like you just said, man, there's gamers out there, and especially YouTubers. I subscribe to a lot of gaming YouTubers, stuff like that, and for some apparent reason, it hit me the wrong way.
What do they do, man? What are they irking you about?
I've been irked about their complaints, their nonsense, their the fact that a lot of these YouTubers where they were able to get their units earlier than a lot of people, because it used to be back in the day where everybody got it at the same launch day. Now you got people that's able to get it like weeks earlier and was able to just enjoy way before anybody else can. For some apparent reason, I look at when people get their shit early or something like that, I tend to go the negative route about it. I don't really go about oh man, I'm happy for them and stuff like that, because they work so hard to get that, to get the sponsorship from Sony or the sponsorship from Microsoft, But in my mind, I'm like, these motherfuckers, I don't know if they really taking for granted what they got, but they get the consoles and they're just dropping it on the table and they're opening in front of people and they're doing stupid shit with it, talking about I'm gonna go take it apart and stuff like that. I said, we have a teardown video. I don't need you to tear it down for me. I especially don't need people to unbox the system for me, Yeah. So I get it's already annoying watching other people unbox the console weeks before I get it, you know? And then now launch day that came out, I'm seeing a plethora of unboxing videos and then just a plethora of like people lollygagging and bullshitting, blowing smoke in the Xbox and trying to discredit the Xbox, talking about how hot it is or how the units are defective and stuff like that, and how there's not enough memory in there and stuff like that. It's just moans and complaints and stuff and unnecessary. And the biggest thing that annoyed the fuck out of me was the digital world. People should already know that, you know, gaming has gone digital. It's been going on. And you got a lot of people who's misrepresenting digital consoles, you know, talking about like, oh, don't go digital because we got to protect the gaming industry. We got to protect GameStop. That needs to still be around. I want it to be around for our kids. Or you don't want to go digital because, you know, once you lose the rights to the game and stuff like that, you can never go back to it or something like that, you know, or blah, blah, blah. Or this, they can pull it out of the store, you know, and when you have the physical copy, you know, you don't lose that game ever. There's truth to that and stuff like that, but if you purchase it and stuff like that, it stays in your library regardless if it's been pulled off the store, you know. So there's been a lot of misinformation from a couple of YouTubers and I know a lot of there's other people who's really not deep in the gaming, so they won't know that. But don't go insulting my intelligence of why I shouldn't go digital. I've been in the comment section. I've been in the trenches battling out, especially in a title. It pisses me off. You know, when they said do not buy the digital PlayStation 5 or the digital Xbox. Here's my reasons why, and they're all stupid reasonings. Very stupid reasons. My biggest they're all like, this one guy, he had 5 reasons and they were all stupid reasons. It's like, well, if you got the digital one, then, you know, when you beat the game, you can't trade it in. No duh, no shit, Sherlock. Of course you can't trade in the game, you know. And says, oh, and then you got the people who says like, oh, but you're locked down to paying the full price of a video game, you know, which is like $69.99. Not necessarily, because games go on sale. If you paid attention to sales and deals in the PlayStation Store, same thing on the eShop, and same thing on Xbox. Yes. So if there's a game that I'm not going to be excited to buy at launch, I could wait, and it's going to go on sale. You know, for example, Demon's Souls is already out for the PlayStation 5, which is fully at like $70, but I'm not in a rush for that game. So guess what? Give it about maybe 3 months, 6 months. That game will come out at $70 and drop down to maybe $50, drop down to $40. It's going to drop down in price if you're not in a rush to play that game, you know. There's only a few games I buy at full price. For example, Miles Morales. That's a game that I bought full price. What I did not know is when you buy Miles Morales, and you buy the remastered version of the game for $79.99, you also get it for the PS4. So basically, it feels like I bought 2 copies for one, you know. So it works for the PS4 and it works for the PS5, you know, and it's full on backwards compatible and stuff like that, you know. That was one worth it because that was a launch game I wanted to play. But still, you still got other YouTubers who still misrepresent it. They go after it as a broke college student, talking about like, well, if you got a digital version, you can't sell the games and stuff like that at GameStop, you know, and you know, and you can actually and they're talking about don't go to GameStop because they rip you off. You can go to Craigslist, stuff like that. Nobody wants to go that extra yard, you know. On top of that, if you buy a physical game and stuff like that, you still have to install the whole entire game on the console anyways.
That is true.
You know?
Very annoying.
And it is annoying. And then on another reason is, even when you do install the game on your the whole entire disc, the whole entire content out of that disc onto the console, stuff like that, in order for you to play it, you gotta go find that disc so the system could verify that you have the game. When I go digital, I don't have to verify shit. It's locked onto the console and I can take it. I'm a person that goes to conventions, and sometimes the game room, you and I could vouch for this. We go in the game room. What do you see all of those consoles? Everybody's on them. I have no chance. Sometimes I have no chance to play them, or I have to wait in line. I should not have to be waiting in line to play a console. I don't mind doing it for our arcade cabinet, but for a console, no. So I will bring it to a convention. So when we have our own downtime or something like that, I can play it in a room, chill out, and then, you know, get your gaming fix, then go back into the convention and have some fun. So I'm a guy that brings the console with me, and I'm not gonna lug all those physical games, because what happens when you do take those physical games and stuff like that, and you invite random people into your room? Swipe. That's all it takes. Yeah. You know, who's gonna swipe my games when I don't have physical games that's in the room? You know, you know. So it's one of those. It's one of those things. You know, it's just like, you know, I'm not the type of person that's gonna let my console, because I know there's at these conventions, they also allow you to bring your console, and I guess they can rent out your console. You know, I'm not gonna let any of my consoles get rented out. It's gonna be in the room that we're in, you know, and it stays there until the weekend is over, you know. But my biggest gripe is the YouTubers who are unboxing it, the misinformation about certain things about a console, and it's just, I don't know, it's just back to back of how it's like. And I just got the PlayStation 5, and it's Friday the 13th. I got it on launch date, and I'm not excited to open it. You know, I'm just like, what's there? You know, you know, we saw a couple of our friends, they unboxed the video, they unboxed their stuff, you know, and I'm like, hey, that's cool, you know. There was on YouTube, not a lot of people has even unboxed the digital, like, not a few people has unboxed the digital version of the console, but you know, before, when a lot of YouTube content creators got their consoles and stuff like that, not a lot of people got the digital version. They got the physical version. And the people that do got the digital version, they're like from Germany or from other countries and stuff like that. And nobody in English was speaking. I mean, there was no English speaking digital PlayStation 5 unboxings. So now that the launch is out, now there's a few PlayStation 5 digital unboxing videos out there now, and I'm like, well, you know what, it is what it is. If you've seen one, you've seen it all, you know.
It's repetitive at that point.
Yeah, so, but yeah, it kind of just, my biggest thing is it just takes away the magic of enjoying something new, you know. It's almost like Christmas Day, you know. Like, imagine being a kid and your presents under the tree and stuff like that, right? And you're kind of like, but imagine all your friends are in your house opening their Christmas present, and you're the last one to open it. You know, you're the last one to open your presents. All your friends, your brothers and your sisters, stuff like that, has opened their presents, and they got what they wanted and stuff. And it's probably the same stuff that you're probably going to get for Christmas. Now you're not excited to get yours because you've seen their excitement, but you're the last one to open it. So I was like, well.
Well, you know, I mean, when it comes to that, you know, possibly one of those things where you got to just unplug yourself, man, get off the grid before, you know, before these consoles launch, before our game launches. I mean, I do the same thing for like a comic book or movies or television or something that's exciting that comes out for me. I try my best not to spoil it on YouTube or spoil it on Facebook or whatever. And for me, what I noticed for this launch is this internet age, this cry for attention. This cry for attention from people on social media. I mean, when Microsoft issued that statement of please do not blow vape smoke in your Xbox, because motherfuckers were out there trying to disguise that their Xboxes were overheating and like, oh my God, look how bad this problem is, intentionally trolling people where they were blowing their fucking e-cigs and their vapes, smoke up the damn side of the console, and people were really believing that the consoles were overheating. You have another case where people are putting their consoles in compromising positions where it looks like it can easily overheat, and then they're saying like, it overheat, and they're saying like, oh, the ventilation on the top, if you cover it, it's like overheat, it's done, and that was not the case. So a lot of trolling going on online, a lot of trolling. I noticed just some weird stuff about PS5's bricking. Some of the stuff is like you have too many power going through your outlet. You know what I'm saying? Your outlet like was burnt out because you have 4 or 5, 6 or 7 different things being plugged. You know, you could tell like someone is trying to sabotage the electrical output.
Yeah.
So it's like, oh, let's see, the PS5 it turned off, and it's like, well, did it really turn off, or was someone manually doing that, or was it just too much of a surge through that outlet, and then that's what happened. So it's just, it's very questionable on the internet what you see and what is perceived to be true and what's not perceived to be true. So a lot of trolling going on in Xbox, and I mean, there was some fun how some people were buckling up their damn PS5s like a freaking kid in their car, driving it home or whatever. Basically a lot of people doing a lot of selling. A lot of people are just price gouging the fuck out of their PS5s and Xbox Ones and just hitting it up on eBay or Amazon or whatever, man. $1,000, $1,500 for your PS5 digital edition. And I mean, with Christmas coming up, people are going to pay those prices if it's sold out, if it's hard to get. And I know there was news statements saying that, don't worry, we're going to have more in stock before Christmas. This is not the only one. But, people panic. People believe in the hype. People are looking for entertainment during this pandemic. So, I mean, these price gougers are these price scalpers, man. They're really flooding everything. And it's like, it's not just one or two consoles. Like, I'm seeing pictures of people got 10 goddamn PS5s, 10 goddamn Xboxes, like a whole van full per se, and they're like, I got 20 of these motherfuckers. I'm a triple stack my investment and sell it to people. And I guess that's where some of the joy can go away, where you're like, I actually want to play this thing, and there's people who are purposely buying this to price gouge and back sell it at a higher price, and people are willing to pay that price because it's entertaining and it's the newest and latest greatest thing out there right now, and it's a hot commodity. People want what they can't have. So if it's a rare item, there's a higher, they're like, oh, I have to get it, fuck it, I'll pay the $1,000 because I want to play Miles Morales Spider-Man that badly or whatever. So I mean, with this launch, I'm definitely seeing cries for attention with trolling and cries for attention of just like, if you're going to sell something, if you're going to sell 20 of them, why are you showing a picture that, yeah, I'm balling, I got 20 of these PS5s, and I'm going to, like, double up on what I put into this, right? Like, stuff like that makes you wonder, like, why, like, just enjoy the console more, or just sell and make your profit and move on. So, definitely cries for attention and trolling with this new launch, and the Nintendo owners are just quiet and they're just enjoy watching everybody battle on with that. And PC gamers are like, it's about time y'all catch up. Like you said before, the consoles kind of catching up to PC. The PC gamers are just like, even something like, y'all now just getting excited over this, just fuck it, sell your damn PS5 and upgrade. And like, no, console gamers are never converting.
Yeah, man, that's the day and age we're in right now. It's especially 2020, man. We live in an age right now where FOMO is at its highest. Yeah. For those who are not familiar with FOMO, that's of course fear of missing out. And because the PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X and S is out and stuff, people want to be a part of that launch hype, and they don't want to miss out on that launch hype, So that's another reason why I like watching YouTube and stuff like that. It's not like that. Like, I'm taking things for granted or anything else, but just like, all right, I was able to participate in the launch hype, but I'm not able to enjoy it just like everybody else is right now, because of the fact of the matter is you got people that sat there, they waited in line during the QA to get their damn console and stuff like that. They got it in the door on launch day and stuff, so they can get on Twitter, they can get on YouTube, and they can like put it out there and says, I finally got it. Like the hashtag PlayStation 5 secured, Xbox secured, and stuff like that,
Make it in the trend.
Yeah, like I said, so like it's a mission now. All right, cool. Let's get these consoles, stuff like that. That's fine, Like I could do that too, I guess it's because here's the thing about YouTubers. It's annoying. It feels like, all right, I feel like I'm gonna look back at this episode in the future when we start growing in numbers and stuff like that. I'm gonna contradict myself and and be a hypocrite because we're probably going to start getting a follow and stuff like that. But however, I'm probably going to still feel strongly about this in the future and stuff like that. But it's still like I'm still entitled to my opinion about it. But to be perfectly clear, every time that I watch a streamer and stuff like that, I look at them as like, just, like in Egypt and stuff like that, you're like the prince, the god and stuff like that. You're on your throne and stuff like that, and you have a whole bunch of your followers who are watching you stream and stuff like that. They're the ones that's carrying your pyramid, building your pyramid and stuff like that. And you're just overwatching them, and they're like, yeah, and I'm like, yes, I am your king. You worship me. I'm your god. And you just have a bunch of worshippers at your feet. So the fact that when you run around here and you're able to secure a console and stuff like that, you're like, I secured a console. Now you can suck at the teeth of my greatness or my excellence and stuff like that. It's an ego boost. I get it. It's fine. Like we all need that. We all want to feel validated. I understand it. There's something I knew about YouTubers and stuff like that. It's the feel the need for gratification stuff like that. It's almost like what's that word I'm looking for? I don't want to say egotistical stuff like that, but more self-absorbed. Yeah, it's more of a thing where it's like it's like conceited in a way, but another word for conceited, narcissist. Yeah, it's YouTubers are aware that they have narcissistic behavior, and they know about it and they embrace it. That's fine. That's cool. You can accept that truth and stuff like that. Some YouTubers like, yeah, there's a bit of narcissism and stuff like that. And you know what? It's paying bills. So I was like, okay, well, that's one way to look at it. So I was like, you really can you really hate a YouTuber who's feeling narcissistic and stuff like that? And I was like, well, you know what? I got these followers. They come in, they donate $2, $5, $10, $20, stuff like that, just to hear my opinion. And sometimes it could transform other people's opinions. Like you have that power to transform other people's opinions, and that's cool, But in the gaming industry and stuff like that, where gamers are a little bit, timid, stuff like that, where they're in their shadows with a joystick in their hand, stuff like that, and they're just playing away and stuff like that. They have no social skills sometimes, and they don't know how to think for themselves, so they look for other people's opinions, and when you talk to them, they feel validated, But other than that, it's the power we have. We have the power to transform people's opinions, and that's kind of like reason why we started a podcast. Is that we're not here to transform your opinion. We're here to give you insights of our opinion, and you can make up on your own. Nowhere in the world we're going to tell people do not buy a PlayStation 5 digital. We're not going to tell you do not do this, do not that. We'll give you insights. We'll give you suggestions, stuff like that. But we're not going to tell you because that was funny because I was in the comment section talking to people. I looked up every video that says do not buy a PlayStation 5 digital, and I came in there and there's people with even better points than the actual video, and I came in with my point. This is my biggest thing is like this one YouTuber, it was actually a good disagreement rather than a piss festival, we're just pissing each other off. We were just like, I'm only disagreeing with your opinions because you're saying that buying a PlayStation 4 digital, PlayStation 5 digital, when you have a PC in the background of your video, and I know for a fact you have a Steam launcher and an Epic Games launcher. All those games are digital. You cannot tell me you have physical games in that PC. It should apply the same way as having a digital console of the PS4, and it should be applied the same way you got the digital console of the Xbox and stuff like that, Then he was like, well, my video is not saying is a command. I said, on the contrary, your video just said do not buy a PlayStation 5 digital. You cannot tell me that, I'm just informing your average consumer. No, you're not informing your average consumer. You're commanding do not buy. Then you got other people says, do not buy the PlayStation 5 digital because we need to save mom and pop stores like GameStop. GameStop's not a mom and pop stores, but like, you know, the local stores, stuff like that. You know, we need to save those, buy physical gaming. If you want to do that, that's fine. But people's got a lifestyle. People want convenience, stuff like that. If you go to Japan, look at the average household. Look what the average size of an apartment in Japan looks like. Do they have bookshelves full of games? Hell no. Their lifestyle is so compact. That's the reason why the Switch is doing so well in Japan, because it's a compact system. The PlayStation 5, man, it used to be a compact system. I mean, the PlayStation 4 was a compact system, you know, with its slim model, and now it still looks small even at then. Now, I guess consoles are not doing well in Japan, where now it's just like, you know what, Japan's like, fuck it, we're just gonna make the damn system big and cater to the Western market. You know, like the Western has bigger influence. You know, we're the it's the only people that's buying consoles. You know.
Yeah, the tides have turned a little bit.
Yeah.
We're having more of it's growing. It's more of a bigger influence.
Mm-hmm. You know, if you look at the influence, Japan has even changed. Changed their button schemes, where when you play a Japanese game, the circle button was the OK button, and the X button, or the cross button to UK folks, the cross button is the cancel button. Now they just said, you know what? It's in the West, the X button is the OK button, and the circle is the cancel button. Japan just straight up converted. Says, you know, we're gonna go ahead and match what the US is doing and UK are doing, where the X is the OK and the circle is the cancel. And Japan was furious. But why? Like at this point, why does it even matter in Japan when they're not really fucking with consoles that much? They're fucking with the Switch. They like the portability. They're playing games on their phones, you know.
Yeah.
So I was like, yeah, well, you know what, Japan, like, they're catering to the West. Their games are looking more Western than anime-ish and stuff. You know, look at the new Final Fantasy 16.
Right. Well,
That shit.
yeah. Well, I mean, Japan. I mean, we might have to discuss that for a whole nother episode itself, man. The East versus West in gaming, that's pretty big. Last 10, 15 years, yeah, that's a whole subject right there, man. But for to get back on subject, for these guys who are saying digital only, so they actually bought the digital version of PS5 and then told other people not to buy it.
These are people who do not have a console at all.
Okay, they don't have a console.
And this is before the console has arrived at all, and they're in the video and they don't have any of the consoles at all, but they're out there trying to get their opinion validated. And what's so cool, not really cool, but I find it to be cool, but those videos are not doing well because you got half likes and half dislikes. And that's well, for every reason it should be, because these are the people that are afraid to embrace what is going to be the future, you know, where digital gaming is it. We already went through almost like 3 generations of gaming where you have to install the whole entire damn disc onto the console to play it. True. You know, so I was like, what's the difference now?
It's
not
like you can just pop the game in and you play it. You actually need internet connection now to install the game. And, you know, and where does that data come from? Right. Does it come from the server, or does it come from the disc itself? Mm-hmm. It comes from the server, right? So if the server gets disconnected, then those physical copies of the games is obtuse. It's no longer valid because you can't even put the game in and get the console the updates from the server to play the disc. Mm-hmm. So you're basically getting kind of like a half-ass digital version for all these new generations coming up. You're getting a half-ass digital version. If they were to say, you know what, the server on this is dead. So now if you deleted that data, right, and you put that disc in and it can't update itself, you're not getting the full game at all, or you can't even play the game at all. Yeah. So it's like, yeah, I can definitely see how it's a weird conundrum.
It is. It is. Yeah. To make things clear, like, the disc is not an SSD. An SSD is is the fastest memory no in the industry right now. So you can't play Spider-Man Miles Morales straight off the disc. It has to install in the system to play, you know. And if you got a game like Tekken 7, you're only and you put that in your console right now, you're only gonna get only season 1 content out of that disc. All those additional characters, what did you have to do? Download DLC. What do these people not get? Like, I'm not trying to disrespect anybody else that gets physical games and stuff like that, but just understand where my logical thinking when I buy digital games, you know. I'm not saying, like, if you're a game collector and you want a stock shelf of games and have a bookshelf for it, you're a game collector, by all means, I respect it and stuff like that, because I could see where that's coming from, because there's a certain comfort to having physical games on the shelf, you know. Or if you're like one of those guys that beats a game and wants to sell that game, cool, by all means, you know. My logical thinking is I'm a coupon gamer. I don't buy a game. Sometimes I don't buy a game on launch. I'll wait a couple weeks, a couple months, and buy it on sale, you know. And even if I do buy it on sale, the game has already been marked 50% off. I could take that loss and keep it in the server for a long time and come back to it whenever I feel like it. But for people that do buy that do buy physical games, like I said, like, you have to install the whole entire game, and it's probably just a quarter of the content. You have to download the rest online.
Sure. So I'm gonna try to break it down here in simplest terms possible. It would be like someone saying, "Don't get in the pool. Don't get in the pool. The water is wet. Don't get in the pool." But essentially, for this generation and the previous generation of games, you're already in the shallow end. Right? You are already in the shallow end. It doesn't matter if you go deep, which is the digital, or you're in the shallow end, which is the physical. You're already in the water. There's no way to play the game without a digital environment, right? Without some kind of interaction to grab this data, to grab these extra pieces to the game that's not on the disc. So to say not to buy digital, just buy physical, you're still technically buying digital. You're still technically buying and having an aspect of having something coming off from the disc, coming onto the console, coming into the game, or essentially like that. It's not like the past. The past, you got an N64 cartridge, you put in the N64, it played it immediately. You didn't need any internet access to play this game. And these new generations, and I totally get the way physical gaming is because certain games may not get remastered. Certain games may not get, put onto PlayStation Store, Xbox Store, or Nintendo Online. Certain games are going to get left in the past. But now the difference is that these new games require some kind of internet connectivity for the game to live on, for the game to function. So now it's still out of your control. If they pull that data from the server and you can't update the game, you're playing Tekken 7 with Season 1 characters, or you're playing Halo, or you're playing whatever. There's so many updates and other shit they add to the game where you are playing a bare bones version of that game. And it's not like it was before. Before, you bought the game, you put the disc in, you played it, it was yours. It was complete. The physical copy was a complete experience. Now the physical copy is no longer complete. It's incomplete. It is basically a shadow of a complete game, and you need these extra pieces to make the game even function. And so with that, if you're screaming, don't get in the pool, but you have to get in the pool in order to play the game, then it's like, well, you're screaming almost for nothing. You're screaming almost for nothing if your main reason for getting in the pool is to avoid something, but it's already unavoidable at this point. It's gone. That era is gone now. That era of pulling back and saying no, everything is on the disc. It was done with the PS3 and 360. I believe that was the last console where you could put in a disc, and it would just run to a certain degree.
The PS3 and the 360 era was the taste, of what was getting ready to happen And on top of that, we were getting adjusted to patches and we were getting adjusted to DLC, because when you do buy the disc, you could still kind of play, but you're like, if you want to play, if you want to have extra maps or extra characters or extra skins, stuff like that, that's DLC. The PS4 and the Xbox One, it's now dabbling to, now you need that crutch from online content to get the full complete game. If anything else, to everybody else who played Street Fighter V, which was a bare bones game when it first came out, and people paid $60 for that shit. Yeah. Smash Brothers, for the people who don't understand Street Fighter V, we'll go towards a universal term: Smash Brothers. Okay, so basically, Smash Bros. Ultimate was basically Smash Bros. Wii U. But then you still had to go, but when you had the Wii U version, you had to buy the DLC, such as Cloud and all that stuff like that. You know, you had to still get Mewtwo. Now that you got Smash Ultimate with all that DLC already included, now they added more shit, and they had to patch out these characters, and they added more stages, stuff like that. So what you really did, you bought a $60 game, and you're spending season pass $24.99 every season pass. They just sold you a full game again. If you add $24.99 twice, including the random shit they add as free DLC, they sold the game twice.
True. That is very true. DLC being sold as a price point pretty much of the same game. Mortal Kombat 11 fucked me, yo. I paid full $59.99 for Mortal Kombat 11. Not only that, I paid however much for Season 1 DLC. So I felt good, like, okay, I'm good to go for a while. Then they had Mortal Kombat 11 Afterlife, and I was like, fuck. How much? Okay, well, how much is deal? Wait, what? That's 40, 50, wait, what? $40 for 3 characters and extra story mode? So then you buy that, right? And then you still have the next season DLC, which has Melina, Rambo, and Rain. And it's like, that's, wait, that's $20, $30 again? So you easily get end up paying almost $200 if you paid for everything straightforward. And that doesn't even include if you bought the collector's edition and all that other shit. But you almost pay $200 to get every single extension of this game when it first came out. And you could have waited the year and some change and got the Ultimate Edition, which has everything on the disc, and for a cheaper price. So, I mean, you are right. I mean that's just this new era of gaming where you're getting half-released games, but that goes in a little bit with the digital, because it requires that digital connectivity to get this full game experience. And even if they do have Mortal Kombat 11 on the disc, right, Ultimate, if you have no disc space left on your console and you put that disc in and you just straight from scratch, right, you don't have it pre-installed, you cannot play Mortal Kombat 11 without installing that extra, without installing that extra content on there. It's not everything's on the disc. So, I mean, to your end, it just seems like it's just forward progression, and it's inevitable. It's happening in music, it's happening with newspapers, it's happening in other mediums where everything's kind of going digital, comic books, etc. And it's just like a natural progression. I won't say natural, but it is a progression towards something that's new or something that's uncommon, and it will become common, and it won't become as new anymore. And it's just that the technology has advanced so much that you're already half in the shit. You're already halfway exposed. There is no going back. If you want to participate in this, it is going to require you to have some form of digital aspect or digital connectivity to it.
Is exactly what it is, man. You brought up a great game, because sometimes even if fighting games is a perfect example, because even if you have the disc, it doesn't come with the patch notes that the game needs, and if you don't have the patch notes, you can't compete online.
Right, your day one KK rule or day one Scorpion or whatever is just gonna beat the shit out of it. It's unbalanced, right? The patchwork and all that, it's not included.
The characters need to be patched. Same thing in Smash. You can't compete in Smash. Hell, you can't even bring your Switch to a damn tournament, you know, unless you downloaded the next patch, you know.
Sure.
So I was like, you can't fight the inevitable, you know. It's the physical game. Like we're in a new generation now, where now I feel like the disc is only the quarter of the battle now, because now we're gonna be shitload with DLC. I don't know what Mortal Kombat 12 is gonna look like. I don't know what Tekken 8 is gonna look like. I don't know what Soul Calibur 7 is gonna look like. Dragon Ball FighterZ was a perfect example of, like, you know, buying season pass to complete the game. And if you're a person that's dealing with FOMO right now, fear of missing out, you're going to buy that season pass because you don't want to miss out with among your peers who are playing the same game as you are. So you're playing, I don't know, Dragon Ball FighterZ, you know, and you say, well, I got Dragon Ball FighterZ. Cool. Do you have yeah, Master Roshi? Do you have Super Saiyan God Gogeta or something like that? Oh no. Oh well, if you're trying to join in the tournament, we can't fuck with you.
Right.
You know?
Or you're incomplete.
Yeah.
Or you're missing out. Or
you're missing out.
Yeah.
If you try to go into money match and stuff like that, you can't come in incomplete. You know?
Right. And I mean, a lot of shooters are like that too. Yeah. Shooters having tons of DLC. I mean, we'll even go Final Fantasy. I mean, it's old now a little bit, but Final Fantasy 15, where they had episode Ignis, Prompto, Gladius, Aridin. These are all experiences where you had to pay extra to get. That was essentially supposed to be part of the game. Right. When the character goes away, and you're like, well, what happened? Well, you got to buy, you know, I mean, it's $5, $10. You got to buy this part to see what happened to that character when he went away. It's like, no, that should have been part of the pacing. It should have been part of the pacing, you know. Or now you can control now you're able to control the players. So if you buy Final Fantasy 15 Day 1 disc, it is so different from Royal Edition or without the patches, without the DLC. It's almost a completely different game. So you again, you have to have that access to the internet to complete your game now. You can't pop in Day 1 games and it's those days are done. Those days are done. There was no DLC, there was no patchwork. Fuck, man, I can't beat Fox in Melee. Guess what? That's just the way it fucking is. You either adapt or you just get beat by his ass every single time. You know what I'm saying? Or whatever. This gun is OP in Gears of War. Well, guess what? Or I mean, this gun is OP in this game. There's nothing you can do about it. You're gonna have to find some way to beat that. Yeah. So these game experiences have now changed to the point where fighting. I'm not saying fighting for physical disc is worthless, is pointless. But I am saying people need to maybe have a little bit more context into what they're actually playing and what's actually happening behind the scenes when you put that disc in and it's installing. I mean, where do you think where is it installing from? Where is that, you know? So, like you said, if we go back play PS3 360 and you don't have internet connection, you put some of these games in there, what's going to happen? You're not going to be able to play some of them, or you're not going to get the full game experience. So, it's a little bit too late. A little bit too late with this whole don't buy digital. I mean, if you were going to do that, you should have had the fist up saying don't do during the PS3 360 era. You should have never bought those consoles. You should have never bought those games, saying I want full, complete physical games only. You should have been promoting then the Ultimate Edition, which all the season pass, all the seasons are in a disc. They don't do that anymore, too. By the way, those Game of the Year editions, like physical copies of that is just like, oh, you have to download it digitally, and then that's about it. So. That's all I got, man, on the whole. I mean, I see what you're saying with this whole digital versus physical release controversy, where we're just so steeped into this next gen. We already have the water halfway through, waist deep. So it don't matter if you put your head on the water or it goes to your freaking ankles. Either way, we're in it.
Exactly, man. Like, it's 2020, guys, man. Like, you're really going to install the whole entire thing on the SSD. These consoles have SSD, You can't... The disc is not going to be fast enough to play that whole entire game. you're going to install the whole entire thing onto your console to play the game at its full fidelity, full performance. It's just it's one of those inevitable things and stuff like that. It's still I mean, I'm not trying to call out people who buy physical games like that, but like I said, I understand it's a collector standpoint. I understand that. But it's like, you know, if you're gonna be out here and try to tell people to do not buy digital games, buy only physical, because we gotta keep these shops alive, or stupid reasons like, oh, I could actually sell the game and stuff like that. It doesn't even matter at this point, because you're gonna have to download the rest of the games. The fact of the matter is that the next point I want to bring up, it's these developers, they're half-assing. They don't have to complete the damn game. They can just go and send the shit. Street Fighter 5 was a clear example. They can give you bare bones and say, we'll finish. Imagine being a college student, right? And it says, hey, I need a 500-word essay that's due next Friday. As a college student, am I allowed to come to that professor and turn in a 150-word essay and said I'll finish the rest at another time? Can I get a full credit?
No, you cannot.
So the gaming industry has changed now, where at launch day they don't have to complete the whole entire game. The fact of the matter is Cyberpunk 2077 is a perfect example, where they was going to launch that game without fixing it, but it says no, we want to push for that A. So they kept on delaying it. They're their own college professors. Oh well, the project's due next Friday. Well, can we push the due date and keep pushing it? Because if we don't do that, guess how many patch notes we got to do from day one? Guess how many things we got to fix? Guess how many bugs we got to fix? Stuff like that, you know. So these developers, you know, to the credit of all the developers, stuff like that, we're not looking at Super NES games anymore. We're not looking at N64 games anymore. We're not looking at those type of games. These are games with a whole lot of polygons, a whole lot of textures, a whole lot of moving parts that's going on in the game. A single developer, a team of developers can't capture all those mistakes. They have to continuously play the game. You could sit here and make a whole lot of shit, but still not capture all the mistakes, you know? Right. Like, you can end up working. This is the reason why the gaming industry, they have what you call we had to work overtime and all that stuff like that, you know, all that shit, you know. I guess it's called a rush or whatever the fuck. But yeah, like they keep you in for about weeks on end to make sure the game works perfectly fine before launch and stuff, you know. Or you can end up having a shit show and your game end up looking like Fast and Furious, you know. Yeah. So this is the reason why these developers and stuff like that. This is the reason why these developers gotta take time, because. But then you got other developers that don't have to take time. I said we could just fix it later on. We just got to make sure that we meet the game at launch, because you got a lot of shareholders who's gonna be pissed off at you if you don't have that game ready by launch.
Right. Just make sure the game trailer looks nice, have some good marketing, some licensed music, and a celebrity to endorse the game, and have their fanboys out there, you know, with the fist up and championing your game, and then you get your launch day sales.
Yeah, we're living in a different era now, man. Gamers are the hardest crowd to please, because it's not like the movie industry. Well, it's kind of like the movie industry, except, you know, they're not that loud and outspoken. Sometimes it can be, because I saw the outcry of Sonic. How they say when you had an outcry of all people say you better remake the fuck out of Sonic. We're not coming to watch that garbage ass Sonic version that you made, the version 1. So they had to remake that.
Those are still the gamers.
Yeah, those are still the gamers. But also you had the DC the Snyder Cut. You had the outcry of fans like, oh, that was bullshit.
That's true.
You give us the Snyder Cut.
Yeah, you got a point.
You know?
The demand for a Snyder Cut.
You know?
Yeah.
But gamers are 10 times worse. You disapprove them, oh, you gonna have shit show. They will bomb your shit on Metacritic. They will bomb your shit on the comment section on Steam. They will bomb the fuck out of you, and to bankruptcy. Like, you're catering to a tough crowd when you're fucking with gamers and stuff like that. You know, these gamers don't play around. You know, this is not a movie ticket admission. This is not like a $20 movie ticket. This is a full-on $60 price of admission to enjoy a game, and they better and they want to enjoy every aspect, and they better not see any flaws. It's almost like you have to build a game to perfection, you know. But if you don't do that, oh, you will have a relief from these gamers, and they're on YouTube, and they're on Metacritic, and they're on every comment, like any platform that's got a comment section. You will hear their noise, and it's not just outcries of a comment section. These are people that will find information. These are people that's on the computer that will hack your shit, find your address, and send stupid ass death threats just because these gamers are that passionate. Right. You know. This is like, it's a scary crowd to appease to, but
it is true, man. You'll have these guys who will literally take your game apart, look into the coding, and see that you use the same frames from this game, or you use the same model from that game, or you use this shortcut for that shortcut. Like, they will badmouth the fuck out of your game. They will expose your ass. If you mess with the wrong type of crowd, they will expose your ass, and they will gladly make news articles or YouTube videos saying how your code is trash, or your net code is trash, or your programming is trash, or your texture models are awful, or this and that and the third. I mean, recent example, Pokemon Sword and Shield, how people went in saying this game looks like ass. The animations, Nintendo said we're working on the animations. That's why not all the Pokemon are in the game. And it's like, this is the same attack animation from 3DS games. The hell are you talking about? I know. I put it, they looked into the code and like, this is the same character model from 5 or 6 years ago when you transferred everything from 2D to 3D. This is the same character models you're using. You're not changing the models at all with this stuff. So it's like you said, it's just Nintendo has such such a relationship with gamers that we don't exactly attack them like we would anyone else. But for your average game studio, they're going to get attacked. Oh, yeah. They are going to get attacked, and they're going to end up with egg on their face for trying to rush or trying to hide something. I think the only thing that gets sort of a pass is DLCs. I think DLC seasons are the only thing that gets sort of a pass in terms of the pricing structure, in terms of how many season passes there are, and in terms of how people respond to them. And I think other than that, everything else doesn't get swept underneath the rug. Everything else does get exposed, and everything else is a byproduct of this new gaming era where you're getting unfinished games at launch, a promise that'll get fixed, and then you're not even sure they'll be fulfilled. If they will fix the problem, when is this patch coming out? When's the next DLC coming out? The Avengers game that recently came out from Square Enix and Crystal Dynamics, that had a whole lot of hype. It's Marvel. It's a big time licensed game. They spent years making this shit, and it came out basically unfinished. It had a lot of patchwork that needed to be done, a lot of clipping that was happening, a lot of errors that was happening. Game was restarting out of nowhere. Characters out of the shots of the cinematic frames. Character models were not in the cinematic frames. Bad facial expressions. They said they were going to update the game with new content, new enemies, new bosses. None of that shit has happened. And it's like the player base has left. You have a short window to address these problems and fix it before people just move on. And I look at also the last Star Wars Battlefront game where they had that pricing structure and the grinding to unlock all this content, and EA, they fixed it in the end, and they gave you some free shit, but by that time it was like, fuck, it's too late. The player base is gone. We don't care anymore. You had a bad first impression, a bad taste in our mouths, and everyone left for something better, something different. And by the time the game as it stands now, how it is compared to when it first came out, it's day and night difference. Huge difference. It's a lot better, but now we can't really enjoy it because you started off half-assed and you started off on a bad note, and now that game is tainted. And again, like you said, with the digital, if you have a day one copy of Star Wars Battlefront and Battlefront 2, and you put that bad boy in your consoles, it's going to require some updates. It's not going to be up to full spec. So that's just the gaming industry, man. And that's just the era of gaming that we're in. And some are with it, some are not.
$48 million loss. Square Enix. Because of Avengers. You got day one, 1,000 patch notes. 1,000. The game was so easy to beat, it wasn't really worth the effort. Spider-Man, only exclusive to PlayStation. See, gamers, they don't play around. They'll fuck your shit up, And just to wrap things up here real quick, just to conclude all these points. PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X and S, it's here. Honestly, if you're going to be a consumer of these products, or if you want to be the person that says PC Master Race, go PC so you don't have to put up with the bullshit of PlayStation and Xbox, by all means. But come in with I urge YouTubers, especially YouTubers, because you have a crowd. You have a crowd following. You have an audience. And sometimes these people, well, not even sometimes, now I'm starting to see these are your sheep. They herd your way to guide them the right direction. You tell these sheep to say, do not buy a digital console. These sheep will listen and herd, Come in educated. Do not close people out. You're not a parent to your viewers. Do not tell them, do not buy a digital console. Do not do this. Do not buy an Xbox, or do not buy the Xbox Series S because it's lowest performance. Do not buy a Switch. If you say do not in your title, I'm coming in to fuck you up. Because it's not your responsibility. You're not my parent. You don't pay my bills. You cannot sit here and tell me do not buy, do not do this. And that's for even the influential kids who don't know no better. You do not tell these kids do not buy this stuff like that. If a kid is 16-year-old and and wants to get a digital console, stuff like that, maybe they have a rich parent that's got a credit card and keeps it on file, Right. But other than that, it's one of those things. It's like you do not tell anybody do not do this, do not do that, and then turn around and tell me and says no. I'm just speaking it as a influencer who's giving insights of a consumer, like how a consumer should see things. No, you said do not buy. That clears it. Anytime I see do not or you can't do this and stuff like that, you're being a gatekeeper. And it's one thing I hate in any industry or any fandom is gatekeepers. Everybody wants to tell you do not do this, do not do that, or you can't do this and you can't do that. That's one thing that triggers me the most and stuff. Because everybody should have the freedom to do something. Right. They want to get a console, or they can sit there and says, oh, I don't even know why you buy a console in the first place. Just get a PC. Nobody wants to deal with the complications of a PC. Yeah. So it's not within your business to do that. It's not even just sticking on TV. It's not even just with gaming now, but it's also with TVs. Oh, don't buy that TV because it lacks 4K, or I'm sorry, it lacks 120 gigahertz. Yeah. You want it. The refresh rates on that TV sucks. Oh, the color science on that TV sucks. Stop telling people do not do this, do not do that, stuff like that. If they really want your opinion, they will ask you. But then, as a consumer, it should be your responsibility before you fork out $600, $700, $800 on any product that you buy to do your research. Do your due diligence to do your research. But that's one thing I have about YouTubers. Is that the thing is, it's when you tell people do not do that, do not do this, do not buy digital because here are the stupid reasons why and stuff like that. Understand that this is the future. PlayStation 5 is going to PlayStation 5 and Xbox even on PC, they're all going to require you to download some patches. You're going to have to download the whole entire game eventually, and not, you can't just plug it in with a disc. You're going to have to download it. But that's just my gripes, and that's why I'm pissed off with YouTubers.
You got that smoke, man. You got all that smoke. I mean, I recently talked about some similar subjects on behind the scene about objectivity and fandoms and race bending and racism in the superhero genre when it comes to comics and on film. For these content creators, man, I mean, my counter argument is that they don't want to bite the hand that feeds them. They have sheep that comes to their channels, and the sheep is hungry, and they're hungry for a particular content. And so what these guys do is that they just steadily feed them that content. And at that point, you're compromised on your point of views. And at that point, you are basically, what you talk about shill media or fanboys, you carry the same views as them, just on the other end. And you are not someone who plays it in the middle. You know what I'm saying? So you're biased. You're biased as fuck. And then for those do not buy video titles, I mean, they could just be going for views. Trying to get something shown in the YouTube algorithms, you know, something shocking, something outrageous to get, you know, people to click on their video. Oh, why do you think that way? So with some of these channels and these content creators, I do believe there is a genuine, heartfelt reason, like, oh, I feel, or I really truly believe this. And then there's a other demographic that know that they're full of shit. And they know that they are full of shit, but they have the views, they have the Patreon subscribers, they have the super chats, they have all these things going for them, and they will steadily feed them this content, even though they themselves do not believe in it. And with that, I mean, that's all I got for this discussion, man.
I mean, I feel on that small little tidbit for the people that buy new consoles and smash them. Hey, fuck you. Just fuck you. All right. I don't know how that's getting millions and millions of views for smashing a brand new ass console.
Everyone has their own sense of entertainment, man. You smash a watermelon, make some jokes. Hey, man, you might get a Saturday Night Live.
Like I said, man, this whole content creating shit, it's ridiculous. But YouTubers, man, just be cautious of how you use your words and how you herd your sheep, I guess. We out.
Peace. And that does it for today's episode. Thank you for lending your ears for another episode of Homeboy Talk.
It's ORRION Wayne getting ready to end things off. Like and comment, dislike if you ain't feeling the content. Download the discussion from SoundCloud. Big shout out to you for being a part of the crowd. Follow us on every popular social media platforms in the discussion below. Orrion Online, offline.
And that's the bottom line, because Homeboy Talk said so.